Dean Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Right Honourable Member in charge of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Amending Primary Function of Bank Amendment Bill No. 2, and it is: how will the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Amending Primary Function of Bank Amendment Bill No. 2 help the Reserve Bank pursue a balanced macroeconomic policy?
Right Honourable Winston Peters.
I have to commend the questioner on these amazing, insightful questions, because they are exactly what New Zealand needs at this point in time. Another very pertinent question. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand Amending Primary Function of Bank Amendment Bill No. 2 will, if representing the rural parts of this country, would be of enormous assistance for provincial New Zealand towns, be of enormous assistance, would be for a place like, for example, Southland, with less than 3% of the population and 18% of the exports, for the first time for a long time, get a fair go. Mr. Speaker, the bill will require the Reserve Bank to incorporate in its monetary policy the goal of achieving a stable and competitive exchange rate, sympathetic to export growth. The effect of a stable and competitive exchange rate would be a more productive export sector, which would increase the national income and help us earn our way out of the current economic malaise which the National Party has sunk us to.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Williams.
Supplementary. What is the outlook for New Zealand without a balanced macroeconomic policy?
Order. That question is not the responsibility of the member. Question number. Point of order. Right Honourable
Mr. Speaker, surely you could ask him to rephrase it so it included the amendment bill, and how we might.
Order. The member's been here long enough and should have given some assistance earlier. The member is responsible for the bill. Order. The member is responsible for the bill. If the question is worded in such a way that it addresses that responsibility, I will give the member a chance to answer. But if it's not related to the bill, then it will be ruled out of order.
With the bill, yes.
Yeah. To the member, how will the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Amending Primary Function of Bank Amendment Bill be impacted in terms of the New Zealand economy if it does not succeed and there is no balanced macroeconomic policy as a result? That's
certainly a better attempt. The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a wonder what some members can do with your guidance.
The member should not be surprised. Would he proceed now with the answer?
The answer is more. The answer, if we don't change, is more of the same. More of the same, only worse. Hundreds of manufacturing jobs being lost each week, more manufacturing closures, as we see headlined every week, cutbacks and relocations offshore, as we see in our news every week, more farmers sliding into economic difficulty, despite being involved in what they say is the white gold of our country's economy. And every year, thousands or 50,000 plus going to Australia. A worsening balance of payments crisis is evidence today that sees us heading to uncharted depths, as evidenced this very day by the current account deficit reaching, I think, 4.9% and heading towards 7%.
Question number 16, Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Right Honourable Member in charge of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Amending Primary Function of Bank Amendment Bill No. 2, and it is: why is the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Amending Primary Function of Bank Amendment Bill No. 2